Chapter 5, A Search for Evidence. Russia of the future, a splendid land in which many of today's generation will be able to live a happier life. Russia of the future, a land which will lead the human commonwealth of the whole planet to a happier life. I have seen this splendid country coming into bloom. She, Anastasia, showed me the future of our country, and it is absolutely unimportant and insignificant just how this fiery, untiring recluse living alone in the Siberian taiga is able to travel to other planets, or see into the future, or into the past, or by what means or unseen threads she brings together the hearts of people living in different countries into a single, exciting creative impulse. What is important is that this impulse exists. Does it really matter where she obtained such a colossal amount of all kinds of information and knowledge about our lives? What matters immeasurably more is the result of this knowledge. The fact that people living in different cities, once put in touch with the information she possesses, are now planting cedar allees. Allees? Allees. That people have started producing cedar nut oil, and that more and more songs and poems about what is beautiful in life are coming to light. This is simply amazing. She dreams about something, I write about it, and presto, it turns into a reality, like a kind of fantasy. Yet this fantasy, after all, is embodied in real life for everyone to see. Now she has dreamt about a splendid country. Shall that too come to pass? Of course it must. And we must help in any way that we can. Going over in my mind and analyzing everything Anastasia has said or showed me has only made me more and more convinced of the reality of this splendid future. I believe in it. Even though I'd begun to believe all Anastasia's words, there was still no way I could put together and publish a chapter on the future of Russia. It wasn't included in the previous book, Co-Creation, and the release of this present volume has been delayed more than once for the same reason. I wanted everything I wrote to look sufficiently real and convincing, so that not just I, but a whole lot of people could believe and set things in motion to create a splendid future. But there are certain sayings of Anastasia's that have prevented me from being less than fully convincing. In Co-Creation, I published Anastasia's statement that what our whole natural environment comprises is precisely the materialized thoughts of God. If man is able to comprehend these, even in part, he will not need to spend so much effort in his search for food, fertilizing the ground, since the ground itself is capable of reestablishing its own fertility, or to waste energy on trying to fight noxious pests and weeds. His thought will be liberated from all the problems of everyday living, and man will be able to get involved in tasks more suited to his existence, the co-creation with God of splendid worlds. I wanted her words to be believed by a majority of people. But how can people trust her, even if the whole agriculture industry, both in Russia and abroad, cannot dispense with the fertilizing process? So many factories in various countries of the world are involved in the production of all sorts of chemicals for enriching the soil. On a number of occasions, I have put this question to various agricultural scientists, but each time I've got pretty much the same condescending reply, namely that of course one could set up a paradise garden on a single hectare of land, but you would need to tend this garden from morning till night. And you could not possibly expect a good harvest unless you added fertilizer to the soil and made use of toxic chemicals. Otherwise, your harvest would be ruined by a whole bunch of pests. When I brought up Anastasia's argument that everything grows in the taiga without human assistance, the scientists countered. Let's assume it grows, but if your recluse is to be believed, the taiga has been programmed directly by God. Man needs a lot more than what can grow in the taiga. For example, the taiga doesn't have any fruit orchards. That's because orchards need to be cared for by man. They can't grow all by themselves. I've made several visits to such stores as Everything for Your Garden, The Gardener, The Dachnik, and seen so many people buying different bags of chemicals. I watched these people and thought that they'll never believe what Anastasia says, so there's no point in writing about the future of Russia. They simply won't believe it. They won't believe in it because this future is first and foremost linked to a new conscious awareness, a different attitude to the earth and our environment. But there is not a single person today who can confirm what she said, not a single real-life example bearing out her words. On the contrary, everything contradicts her position, and the factories producing toxic pesticides continue to operate. There is a whole chain of stores selling fertilizers and chemicals, and a great many people are involved in agricultural research. The absence of significant evidence to back up Anastasia's statements had such a strong effect on me that I came to the point where I was no longer able to write anything at all. It was for that reason that I accepted an invitation to go to Innsbruck in Austria. A German publisher rang me and said that the director of a bioenergy institute by the name of Leonard Hoscheneng had invited me to speak on Anastasia at a gathering of the most prominent healers of Europe. The institute would pay my travel and lodging expenses and was prepared to pay me 1,000 marks for every hour I spoke. I didn't go on account of the money, but in search of convincing arguments that a lot of people could understand either for or against Anastasia's plan, her affirmations about the future of Russia. Dr. Hoscheneng, who invited me to speak to the healers, was himself a professional doctor and a prominent healer, as his father and grandfather had been before him. His grandfather had treated the Japanese imperial family and many other highly placed dignitaries. His personal domains, apart from the institute building, included several small, cozy hotels where a great number of patients coming from European countries stayed, along with a restaurant, a park, and some other buildings in the city center. He was a millionaire, though, in contrast to the image of many Russians have about the lifestyle of a Western millionaire. Leonard, as I found out, handles all the serious work involved in people's treatment himself. He personally treats everyone coming to see him, which can mean as many as 50 patients a day. Indeed, his working day can sometimes stretch to 16 hours. Only occasionally has he entrusted his consultation task to a healer from Russia. I spoke to the gathering of healers at Innsbruck, aware that they were interested first and foremost in Anastasia. I devoted the larger part of my presentation to her and ended up talking a little about her project, with the secret hope that the audience would either confirm or discredit her ideas on the future of Russia, but they neither confirmed nor discredited them. They just kept constantly asking for more details. That evening, Hoscheneng threw a banquet in his restaurant. I would have simply called it a supper. Even though everyone could order what they liked, they were all modest, giving preference to the salads. Nobody drank alcohol or smoked. I too refrained from ordering any alcoholic beverages, not because I was afraid of looking like the proverbial black sheep in their eyes. It was just that for some reason I did not feel like having meat or alcohol. At the supper table, the talk again turned to Anastasia. A saying was born, though I don't remember who said it first. The splendid future of Russia is linked with the Siberian Anastasia. The phrase caught on, and was in time repeated with various interpretations by healers from Italy, Germany, France, and other countries. I was waiting for specifics as to why and by what means the splendid scenario of the future would unfold, but nobody could offer any specific evidence. The healers were relying on some kind of intuition, whereas I needed proof. Can the earth feed man without a special effort on his part? Simply by virtue of man correctly understanding the thought of a God whom nobody could see? After returning to Russia, I recalled the words of the European healers and continued my search for concrete evidence, for which I was prepared to travel anywhere But I didn't have to travel very far. An extraordinary coincidence, as though deliberately set up by someone, not only offered theoretical evidence, but proved to be a real and living confirmation of Anastasia's words. It happened this way.